Tonight on the news, schools resumption witnesses impressive turnout as government extends unity and public schools examination in Ondo State. Embattled Adamawa wreck, Udu Unisa lands in police custody. And from the foreign scene, aftermath of Kenya killings, over 400 persons missing. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news. I am Ayegbege. Schools in Ondo State have resumed for 2022-2023 academic session with over 95% student turnout on the first day of resumption. In all the schools visited in Akure, the Ondo State capital, principals who applauded the impressive turnout of students said adequate measures have been put in place for the smooth running of the term. Ayegbege has details.
Very early on Tuesday, 2nd of May, academic session resumed for third term 2022-2023 after 3 weeks of break to usher in the third term. It was an impressive turnout on the first day of resumption. Students are expected to go through the principal test established by the school authorities to refresh and assess the students. The first port of call was Oyemekun Grammar School, Akure, where the school principal Ogunleye Okewu addressed the students on their expectations for the third term. According to him, over 3,700 students turned up on the first day.
I've just told them third term is the summary of the whole section and it's a examinations term. I've just told them this morning that Oyemekun without English and Maths, no promotion. Even if you have 9 credits, if English and Maths is not there, no promotion. And in SSY you must have your core subjects. If you're in science class, you must have biology, chemistry, physics, Maths and English.
Mrs. Omobolande Ayintete of St. Louis Grammar School, Akure, said the school is prepared to break more records. According to her, 3 of their students who had traveled to United States of America to represent the country in an academic competition are back in school.
On Thursdays, we usually meet the teachers and the management. That is where we start from, we prepare. If you move around now, the lesson notes of the teachers, everything, they are ready. And it was on that Thursday that they submitted their questions for principals and tests. And the students on their own side, they have printed their results, they have connected their results. So some of them, they are already aware of where they belong. So definitely most of them, you move around, you see most of them in the classes. They have started the principal's test already.
At the United CAC Grammar School, OSRC's camera lens caught the school principal, Mrs. Grace Adewumi, meeting with the school teachers on the best way to improve on the school's record.
The season we are now is rainy season, so by the time we got to the school this morning, the whole thing was bushy, but by the grace of God and with the efforts of God and the students, we have been able to cut down some gases. We're getting ready. Some class teachers have gone to their various classes to see to the classes, so that the sitting arrangements will be properly done, the classes will be neat. By tomorrow, we will start the principal's test and all other things will follow.
Principal of Aquinas College, Adebisi Jimbola, on his own part informed that proper arrangements have been made to ensure smooth running of the term, as classes were already treated for convenience of the students.
Sprayed all the grasses with handsets. Aside that, on Thursday last week, we had our statutory meeting where almost all the teachers were present, and we rolled out what we are going to do this time. Of course, they know they are experienced teachers, but we still have to tell them that these are the things that are expected of them.
All the school heads promised accelerated progress and improved performance of both staff and students in the 2022-2023 academic session in line with government's goals. Ayegbege, Osrc News.
Meanwhile, the Ondo State government has extended the registration for its 4 states examinations by 1 week. Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Olufemi Agagu, during the monitoring of schools' resumption for the third-term academic session in Akure, the state capital, said the extension became necessary in view of the iron experience of parents occasioned by the scarcity of Naira notes, especially in February and March. The deadline for registration for the fourth state examinations, earlier fixed for April 30th, has been extended to May 7th to accommodate more registrants. With the extension, parents can still register their words for the Basic Education Certificate Examination (BACE), SS2 Joint Promotion Examination, Entrance Examination into Unity Secondary Schools, and Common Entrance Examination into Public Secondary Schools, also known as Placement Examination, to Sunday, May 7, 2023. In the meantime, a newly renovated and equipped science laboratory worth millions of naira have been commissioned at the premises of the Apostolic High School in Laramoki by the Old Student Association resident in the United States of America under the chairmanship of Mr. Tunde Badabonsi. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, represented by the Commissioner Ondo State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Femi Agagu, said governments cannot manage the educational sector alone, hence the need for individuals and groups to render assistance to help in the development of the sector. We'll bring you the details of the report shortly. Suspended resident electorate commissioner REC in Adamawa State, Udu Yunusa Ari, is in police custody. The development comes hours after Ari said that he would surrender himself to the police 2 weeks after he went into hiding. The suspended REC had also said he never regretted announcing Aisha Binani Dahiru of the All Progressives Congress (APC) as the winner of the 2023 governorship election in the state. Ari had courted controversy after the supplementary election in Adamawa on April 15, 2023, when he announced Binani as the winner of the dramatic poll while collation of results was ongoing. The situation prompted the Independent National Electoral Commissioner (INEC) to nullify Ari's decision and suspended him, while President Muhammadu Buhari ordered full investigation on the Electoral Commissioner. Meanwhile, members of the Abia State House of Assembly have voted to impeach its Speaker, Mr. Chinedum Orji. The impeachment was carried out by 18 out of 27 members of the Assembly who sat at an undisclosed location. The impeachment of the Speaker was carried out on the grounds of gross misconduct and high-handedness. But a source close to the state government described the impeachment as legislative nollywood, which cannot stand, noting that the House of Assembly complex are beyond the lock and key, hence the 18 lawmakers taking such action outside the Assembly complex in the height of impunity. The clerk of the House was not there to swear in the new Speaker. You're still watching Osrc News at 7. After the break, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us.
Hey, it's Kilo. How are you guys? 1,000. We go wash play tire. Farabale now.
Madam, hello lowo wa.
Brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
10,000 people now. Wow, 1,000 naira credit. Now you turn to 10,000.
Now. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ̀.
I told you. Now what go tell?
Glad to have you back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Now we bring you the full details on the Apostolic High School commissioning, and we told you that Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, represented by the Commissioner on the State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Femi Agagu, said government cannot manage the educational sector alone, hence the need for individuals and groups to render assistance to help in the development of the sector. Now the report by Joy Pius.
The alumni of the Apostolic High School Ilaramoke, students, teachers, team from the Ministry of Education, the royal father of the community, as well as invited guests, converged on the school for the commissioning of a newly renovated and equipped science laboratory facilitated by the Old Students Association of the school, based in the United States of America. The acting president of the Old Students Association, Dr. Adedayo Afe, noted the numerous achievements birthed in the school by the alumni, calling for more deliberate involvement of well-meaning Nigerians to the development of the education sector.
No doubt, the benefit of a functional and active Old Student Association cannot be overemphasized, and this is evident by the laudable project we are commissioning today and the expected attendant impacts on the academic advancement of our students, while intentionally contributing our quota to the sustenance of quality academic activities in our alma mater. We hereby like to call on our dear alumni to kindly support the Apostolic High School Ilaramoke, especially in the area of physical infrastructure and posting of good teachers to the school.
The principal of the school, Mrs. Akinjolire, represented by the vice principal, Mr. Ayodele Akinfolashi, applauded the old students for the laudable projects that has been established through them.
One will not be enough this morning to thank the Old Student Association. We teachers promise we will make use of the laboratory because it serves as a resource for teaching and learning, research work, and other academic needs of the school.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, represented by the Commissioner on the State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Femi Agagu, expressed delight at the development, saying it will complement government's efforts at ensuring enabling environments in schools.
We as government, realizing the fact that there is no way government alone can fund education and fund it adequately. So we need the support of every stakeholder, and yours have been a shining example. And I want to thank you once again for your intervention.
Thereafter, the commissioner led the team for the unveiling and inspection of the project.
In the name of God the Father, Amen. God the Son, Amen. God the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
The Alara of Ilaramoke, Oba Abiodun Adefeyinti, and others appreciated the old students for their contributions to the growth of the school and, in extension, the community.
A few weeks ago, when we came here, this was a ramshackle building, but now when we look at it, it looks beautiful and very good.
My advice to the school authority is for them now to ensure that they utilize it well for the students.
The event also featured presentation of gifts to the winners of a quiz competition. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
Civil and public servants have hailed the various welfare initiatives of the present administration in Ondo State. They said the strategies adopted by the state government to improve the welfare of workers bettered the sustained industrial harmony and peace that has been engendered in the state. Omoriola Hongweji has details.
Of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, so help me God.
On assumption of office as Ondo State Governor in 2017, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu inherited a backlog of 7 months unpaid salaries, leave bonuses, among others. While the backlog of salaries were being addressed, then came the COVID-19 pandemic, which badly affected the productivity of the nation, not exempting Ondo State. Workers in the state were hit with these unforeseen circumstances as their salaries were being paid in percentages by the state government in agreement with labor leaders. Mr. Victor Amoko is the state chairman of Nigeria Labour Congress in Ondo State.
They have been putting life into our veins. They have been putting laugh into our mouth. They have been making us to smile on a daily basis. And that is what we are having now. In 2020, we are expecting majority of the governors around Nigeria, what they did was that they did not pay the minimum wage. But here, we pay the minimum wage and the size of the workers remain. Meanwhile, then, we map out a strategy of how do we go by this thing. Then we are looking at the end result. But today, all these things have been stories because all those percentages have been paid, the raise salary have been paid.
Pensioners were also not left out as the administration of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu recently approved a 33% pay rise.
The implementation of the 33.4% salary harmonization was done by Akeredolu, and we want to say that Ondo State was the first state to implement it in Nigeria. And just recently, the consequential adjustment in our pensions have been implemented. And I want to tell you that as I am speaking, Ondo State is the first and the only state to have implemented it. So we have benefited very much from Akeredolu.
Other labor leaders testified to the benefits of the present administration.
Some governors work in this state, and some members run into problem, maybe because of their presentation, maybe during the newscasting and all those stuffs. But in this administration, there's nothing like that. There was relevant peace, and there is still peace.
To the state head of service, Kayode Ogundele, there has been an exponential growth in the civil service, especially in the areas of employment, regular promotion of deserving officers with financial benefits, training and retraining of workers, and approval of health insurance scheme oranges that provide unhindered access to quality healthcare services.
Within the last few months, I can remember in the Ministry of Infrastructure, we recruited some professionals, architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, different levels of professionals. We did that also for the Osrc, Ondo State Agric Entrepreneurship Agency. We also did in the Ondo State Health Emergency Agency, where some workers that have been, we call them contract or temporary staff, governor graciously approved that they should be brought into the system. So, and we also have the fire service that has been an issue for several years. The state government, through the approval of Mr. Governor, has also recruited officers at different levels to fill existing vacancies in the fire service.
According to him, 2 billion naira is being set aside annually to offset the gratuity of retired workers, including the accumulated terminal benefits of retired staff of the Hope newspaper, amounting to 55 million naira. Meanwhile, Special Advisor to Governor Akeredolu on junior matters, Dare Ayegbege, further pledged more robust relationship between the workforce and government to achieve the redeemed agenda of the government.
Despite the challenges of fund, despite coronavirus, despite economic challenges, they have ensured that the best that can happen to workers keep happening. And this is what they have saddled all of us, from the head of service to special advisor to permanent secretaries in charge, to ensure that whatever is due to workers is given to them without delay. It did not stop at that. It has also been stressing the need to accommodate pensioners.
2 years to the end of the present administration, workers seek more collaboration, pay rise to tackle the present soaring costs of living, and conducive environment to work for efficient service delivery. Omoriola Ayegbege, Osrc News.
For its decades of contributions to media practice and development in Nigeria, Sunshine Standard Magazine has honored a member of the Osrc Media Group Management Committee, Sir Steve Alabi, as outstanding media role model in Ondo State. Sir Steve Alabi, an accomplished broadcaster, veteran journalist and sport administrator, is a man of many firsts in the media where his contributions have impacted developments of society. Osrc Saeed Arabisala reports that family and friends joined the iconic honoree in receiving the recognition.
The annual public lecture and awards organized by Sunshine Standard Magazine held in Akure is a convergence point for dignitaries within and outside Ondo State.
You have the right to put government on its toes.
Moving Nigeria forward, the imperative of accountability and transparency in governance is one of the points for discussion at the event. Honoring individuals who have made positive impact in Ondo State and beyond for Nigeria's development was also at center stage, with one of those on the podium, a veteran journalist and member management committee of Osrc Media Group.
Barrister Steve Alabi, highly professional, impartial and apolitical.
From being a news reporter to becoming a producer and sports editor, Sir Steve Alabi's journey in the media industry is laden with many achievements. His decades of practice has seen him perform critical roles within the Nigeria Television Authority, Ondo State Media Outfits, Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, the Nigeria Football Federation, among others.
I had the dream of being a journalist right from primary five. And the first program I watched on television was Sports Galore, which was anchored by my boss later in my employment as a journalist with the Nigerian Television Authority. That's Mr. Fabio Lanikweku. And I just continued to work on it, and God intervened and I became a journalist. We learned from the masters, from people like Inka Craig, from Oga Fabio Lanikweku. The day I was called to go to Mexico 86 for the World Cup, I mean, here was I doing my job. I didn't know that it was being noticed. I was just doing my job. And that was less than a year after I co-produced National Sports Festival, which was the biggest sports event in Nigeria at that time. If you produced it, you were made. So I was shocked when the message came that I should join the Mexico 86 crew. Eventually, I didn't go. But the following year, I went for Chile 87. And that was the first time a journalist from Ondo State would go out to report from outside. Here was I talking and running commentaries right from the World Cup. To experience the World Cup in its totality was a great experience for me.
For these contributions, the spotlight is again falling on the iconic media administrator and legal practitioner, as Sunshine Standard Magazine awards him Outstanding Media Role Model in Ondo State.
My candid advice is that you must report. You must report. That is what makes you a journalist. If you just sit there and they are copying other people's works, it does not make you a journalist. You are just a copycat.
An honor that is well deserved. If you sit by him watching TV or listening to a newspaper review or even reading a newspaper, he is quick to point out either the excellence of that job or the faults.
If I'm on the hot seat anyway and I don't know some things, I will have to call him, because he will tell you the analysis, the dates, the time and everything. So he's like a go-to man for me, even though he's my father-in-law.
Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who was represented by Commissioner for Information and Orientation Bamidele Ademola Olateji, and the publisher Sunshine Standard Magazine Daisia Ditarabi, said the agenda-setting role of the media remain a priority that must be sustained.
Arákùnrin Oluwarotimi Odoayo Akeredolu SANCON is very appreciative of what the media is doing in Ondo State.
Go the whole log of celebrating the people of Ondo State from time to time, which we do every year. And this is one of such occasions. And everybody is happy.
Some other awardees, drawn from the public and private sector of the state economy, expressed gratitude for the recognition of their contribution to societal development.
As long as you are doing your best,
sooner or later you are bound to be seen and recognized.
We are to do more. We are not to relax on our efforts. We are going to do more to contribute to humanity.
Sir Steve Alabi is one-time National President, Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, member of Presidential Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution, Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations Ondo State Chapter, among others. Sahid Aribisala, OSRC News.
Ahead of the sentencing of Ike Ekweremadu in the United Kingdom on May 5, the House of Representatives has appealed to the UK government to temper justice with mercy. The Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, who pleaded for clemency for Ekweremadu, described him as a good man with no prior convictions and has asked the UK courts to take into consideration the history of rightful living of Ekweremadu and his wife, Beatrice. He also asks that consideration for their daughter be made, who is sick and would likely be away from their parents under whose care she is. Back in March, Ekweremadu, his wife, and their doctor, Obinna Obeta, were convicted for organ trafficking in the first verdict of its kind under the Modern Slavery Act. Ekweremadu, 60, his wife, Beatrice, 56, and Dr. Obinna Obeta, 51, were found guilty of facilitating the travel of a young man to Britain with a view to his exploitation after a 6-week trial at the Old Bailey. Police in Kenya have arrested a second pastor accused of mass killings. This follows the arrest last month of the cult leader who police say urged his followers to stab themselves to death. Police have exhumed 109 bodies from shallow graves at a branch in the southeast. The Red Cross says up to 400 people could be unaccounted for.
I know the survivors because I was part of the congregation. I have asked if they have seen my family, but they are not talking.
Hallelujah. We didn't hear from them. So we decided to go back again and later on decided to act. Because at the Human Rights Center we thought it was a place where these congregants are, with the fact that we were told that they were starving or they were fasting, then it wasn't a harmful place, sort of. So we decided to visit the place without the authorities, and then when we went there, some of our members were actually attacked.
And with our reports, we conclude the news tonight. But before we go, a quick look at the major stories. We told you that schools administrators in Ondo State have promised a conducive environment for students and teachers to thrive as schools resume for the third term 2022-2023 academic session. The Ondo State government has extended the registration for its Unity and Public Schools resumption examination. Embattled Adamawa Rek Udu Yunusa has landed in police custody. The development comes hours after Ari said that he would surrender himself to the police 2 weeks after he went into hiding. And from the foreign scene, police in Kenya have arrested a second pastor accused of mass killings following the arrest of the cult leader who police say urged his followers to stab themselves to death. And that's the news tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Good night.